That feeling, you know it. One moment you're cruising along and the next, life throws a curveball so unexpected it feels like the ground just vanished beneath you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a personal loss that just rips a hole in your world, or a professional setback that knocks the wind right out of you, or even a global crisis that rearranges everything.
Everything you thought you knew. It's completely destabilizing.
For most of us, that first instinct is, well, it's to pull back, right? Or get angry, pretend it didn't happen, or maybe just wallow. We've all been there.
Absolutely. It's a totally natural human response when you're faced with those moments. You know, a sudden job loss, financial worries, relationship strain, a health crisis. That initial reaction can feel like a complete loss of control.
And it hits hard.
It does.
Yeah.
And these aren't just fleeting emotions. They can really dig in and affect our long-term well-being. But what if there was another way, a more effective path forward, a way to not just get through these times, but maybe even grow stronger because of them?
That's exactly what we want to explore in this deep dive. We're going to unpack the science of human resilience, what it really means, why it's so much more than just a buzzword, and crucially, how you can actually cultivate it using, science-backed strategies and practical exercises.
Think of it like building a personal toolkit.
Exactly. For navigating life's inevitable bumps and turns, maybe even transforming adversity into opportunity.
Okay, so let's start with what resilience isn't.
Right. Because when a struggle hits, our go-to responses are often those unhelpful ones we just touched on, like pushing people away, blaming ourselves, or just sort of drowning in the sadness.
Yeah, and researchers point out that while those reactions are understandable, they don't actually help us move towards healing or growth.
Mm-hmm.
If you find yourself constantly dwelling on problems, feeling totally overwhelmed, or maybe leaning on unhealthy ways to cope, that can definitely spiral into anxiety and depression.
So if that's what it isn't, let's nail down what it is.
Okay. Resilience is essentially your ability to adapt well and recover fairly quickly after stress, adversity, trauma, or tragedy. It's that inner strength you have or can build to overcome difficulties and stay well even when life feels like it's throwing its absolute worst at you.
Inner strength, I like that.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is this idea that the opposite of depression isn't necessarily joy. It's resilience.
Wow. Okay.
And here's the really good news. It's not some fixed trait you either have or you don't. It's a dynamic skill. It can be learned, practiced, improved over time, like building a muscle, really, with consistent effort.
That really resonates. So it's not just about bouncing back to where you were before.
No, it's more like transforming through the experience.
That subtle shift.
Right.
Recovery versus actual growth. That feels like the real game changer, doesn't it? It makes me think about people I know who just seem to handle every storm with this incredible calm. What is it about them? What sets them apart?
Well, often what differentiates those who not only survive but actually thrive when things get tough comes down to what psychologists sometimes call the 4 C's of resilience. They're sort of core components.
The 4 C's.
First up is control. Now, this isn't about controlling everything in your life that's impossible, frankly. It's more about understanding the difference between your circle of influence, what you can affect, and your circle of concern. Things you worry about but can't change.
Like a global pandemic, maybe.
Exactly. Or economic uncertainty.
Yeah.
Railing against those external forces just drains your energy.
Yeah.
The key is to focus your energy on what you can influence. So, for example, if you suddenly lose your job, you can't control when the next offer comes. But you can control how much time and effort you put into your search, or maybe brushing up on skills.
Okay. Shifting focus from what's happening to you to what you can actively do about it. Taking agency even when things feel chaotic.
Precisely. The second C is commitment. This is about holding on to your core values and your sense of purpose, knowing why you do what you do.
Your what?
Your why. Your core values, what you stand for, what truly matters to you. In tough times, these act like an anchor. They keep you grounded, give meaning to your actions, even when everything else feels like it's swirling. It's like an internal compass that stops you from just drifting.
Keeps you steady.
Right. Then the third C is challenge. This is a really powerful mindset shift. It's about expecting setbacks, not being totally blindsided by them, and this is critical learning to see them as opportunities for learning and growth.
Instead of just failure.
Exactly. Instead of seeing failure as the end, you see it as, well, maybe an uncomfortable but effective way to learn something new, a chance to build that resilience muscle we talk about.
Okay. And the last C.
The final C is connection. This really highlights how vital a strong social network is. Having caring, supportive people around you, family, friends, community groups, acts as a massive protective factor during a crisis.
Like a buffer.
A huge buffer. These connections ease stress, they boost your mood, they help you make sense of things, and crucially, they stop you from feeling like you're facing everything completely alone.
Those four C's: control, commitment, challenge, connection, that lays out a really solid blueprint. It's interesting how interconnected they feel.
They absolutely are. You can't really strengthen one without bolstering the others.
Okay, so that gives us the what. But the how, that's where the real work and maybe the real growth happens. So if someone's feeling overwhelmed right now, what's often the very first, most accessible step they can take to start building this resilience?
Well, there are several really practical, science-backed strategies we can use. A really foundational one is to change your narrative and find the upside.
Change your narrative. Yep.
Yeah. When something bad happens, our minds often get stuck, right? Replaying the painful event over and over. Researchers call it rumination.
Like spinning your wheels cognitively.
Exactly. And it doesn't actually move us forward. One powerful technique to counter this is expressive writing.
Just writing things down.
Pretty much. It involves free writing continuously for maybe 20 minutes about an issue, exploring your deepest thoughts and feelings around it. The goal isn't to write a masterpiece. Just get it out onto paper.
Get it out of your head.
Precisely. Studies have shown even a few days of this can lead to better health and happiness weeks later. It forces you to confront difficult ideas, give them some structure, and helps you kind of re-author your own story. Gain a sense of control back.
And from there?
Building on that, you can try finding silver linings. This means consciously calling to mind an upsetting experience and then listing, say, 3 positive things about it.
Even from something bad.
Yeah. For example, maybe a fight with a friend actually brought important issues out into the open, leading to a deeper understanding. Or maybe losing a job opened the door to a career path you find much more fulfilling. When you practice this regularly, it's been shown to increase engagement and actually decrease pessimistic thinking.
So it's about actively reframing, not just letting those negative thoughts run wild. You're creating your perspective. Okay, what's next?
Next up, face your fears directly. Many of us have those, knee-shaking everyday fears, public speaking, heights, flying,
Oh, yeah.
things you just can't talk yourself out of. For these, we often need to tackle the emotions head-on. It's related to something called exposure therapy.
Sounds intense.
It's actually a gradual, incremental approach. So if you fear public speaking, you might start small. Maybe just speak up more in meetings, then give a short toast at a friend's wedding. Slowly building up to that big presentation.
Step by step.
Exactly. Studies show how the brain learns new associations this way, reducing fear over time. You're essentially teaching your brain that the situation you feared is actually safe, breaking those old fear pathways.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
A third really vital strategy is to practice self-compassion. This one is huge. When we struggle, it's so easy to feel isolated and beat ourselves up, wondering what's wrong with me.
Definitely, that inner critic can be loud.
So loud. Self-compassion is about offering yourself the same warmth and kindness you'd give a good friend going through the same thing, without judgment. Recognizing that suffering is just part of being human. It's acknowledging your pain without letting it define you.
How do you actually do that?
There's a simple, really powerful technique called the self-compassion break. It is 3 steps. First, just be mindful. Notice what you're feeling without judging it. Just say to yourself, okay, this is a moment of suffering.
Acknowledge it.
Yes. Second, remember you're not alone. Remind yourself that suffering is part of life, that we all struggle sometimes. It connects you to shared humanity. And third, be kind to yourself. Maybe put your hands over your heart, offer some comforting words like, may I give myself the compassion I need right now?
Simple steps.
Very. Another useful exercise is asking yourself, how would you treat a friend? Think about how you react to your own struggles versus how you'd react if your best friend told you they were going through the exact same thing. Often, we're shockingly harsh on ourselves.
That idea of treating yourself like a friend, it sounds so basic, but it's actually quite profound. We really do reserve our toughest criticism for ourselves, don't we? It shows how ingrained self-judgment can be.
It really does. Okay, our 4th strategy. Leverage mindfulness and meditation. So often, our painful thoughts are stuck in the past regrets or jump ahead to the future anxieties.
Right. Anywhere but here and now.
Exactly. Mindfulness is all about bringing your attention gently back to the present moment, where often things are actually okay. Programs like mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, teach various meditation practices and have shown huge benefits for health and well-being.
What kind of practices?
Well, one really effective one is the body scan medication.
Yeah.
You focus attention sequentially on different parts of your body, noticing sensations, releasing tension. Strong feelings often show up physically, right? Tight chest, knotted stomach.
Oh, for sure.
This practice helps you notice and gently release that tension, leading to greater well-being and making you less reactive to stress when it hits. Another simple but powerful one is just mindful breathing, using the physical sensation of your breath as an anchor to ground you during stressful moments. Even a few focused breaths can significantly dial down negative emotions.
Just focusing on the breath.
And our fifth strategy, cultivate forgiveness. Holding on to grudges, resentment, it can seriously hold you back. It impacts your mental and even physical health.
But forgiveness can be hard.
It can be incredibly hard. But
Yeah.
here, forgiveness means letting go of that resentment and ill will, primarily for your own sake. It doesn't mean you have to condone what happened or even reconcile with the person. It's an internal shift, a commitment to release that burden so you can move forward.
So it's about freeing yourself.
Exactly. A technique here is called letting go of anger through compassion. You spend a few minutes trying to generate feelings of compassion toward the person who hurt you, maybe recognizing their own struggles or shared humanity. Research shows this approach leads to more empathy, more positive emotions for you, and a greater feeling of control over your own emotional state.
Those are incredibly concrete, actionable steps. But beyond these specific techniques, what does this mean for just like our day-to-day lives?
Yeah.
How do we build resilience so it becomes part of who we are, not just a tool we pull out in a crisis?
That's a great point. It brings us to the broader picture. Cultivating resilience through consistent habits. Mental, physical, emotional, and behavioral habits that create a really robust self-care routine.
Okay.
So, on the mental side, this means consciously choosing to think positively where you can, keeping perspective, taking clear, decisive actions when needed. It's about accepting what you genuinely can't change, setting small, achievable goals, staying flexible, learning from the past, but really trying to stay anchored in the present moment. It's an active daily training for your mind.
Like mental fitness.
Exactly like mental fitness. Then physically, it's prioritizing your body. Regular exercise, releasing those mood-boosting endorphins, getting enough restful sleep, absolutely crucial for emotional strength. Maybe limiting things like caffeine, alcohol, sugar, which can destabilize mood, and making time for activities you genuinely enjoy. These aren't just nice-to-haves, they are foundational.
Right. They build your base.
They build your base. Emotionally, it's about getting better at identifying your feelings and needs and expressing them constructively, nurturing a positive self-view, finding humor, working on adapting to change a bit faster, maintaining a hopeful outlook. These are all vital emotional skills.
And behaviorally.
Behaviorally, it involves things like avoiding risky behaviors, prioritizing tasks so you don't feel constantly overwhelmed, maybe limiting exposure to relentless stress like constant negative news cycles, and consciously taking time away from screens and endless input. All these practices lower your baseline stress and improve your ability to manage emotions before a major setback even occurs.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think, because we're not just talking about surviving or bouncing back anymore. We're talking about something potentially deeper, post-traumatic growth, or PTG.
Yes.
What's fascinating and maybe a little counterintuitive is that for some people, really tough experiences don't just lead back to baseline, they lead to something more. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. PTG is this perception of positive psychological changes that happen after going through a potentially traumatic situation. Now, you might think, logically, if I'm really resilient, I won't experience trauma as badly, so I won't grow from it. But the research shows it's more complex.
How so?
Well, one longitudinal study tracked people during the intense stress of the COVID-19 crisis. They found that around 20% of participants experienced moderate to high levels of this post-traumatic growth. And crucially, this wasn't just a temporary feeling. The growth persisted over time.
Yes.
It stuck. Now, the study looked at what factors were linked to higher PTG. Unsurprisingly, experiencing harsher situations like job loss, big salary cuts, getting sick with COVID, losing a loved one, these were all associated with greater PTG.
Makes sense, unfortunately.
Right. But here's the really noteworthy part. Certain factors linked to higher PTG didn't necessarily mean the person had higher post-traumatic stress. Things like having more leisure hours during lockdowns, getting regular physical exercise, and this is key, significant participation in social activities. Even things like collective applause for health workers or connecting through social media events.
So connection again. And proactive engagement.
Exactly. It highlights the incredible power of social connection and actively engaging in positive ways, even amidst hardship, to foster growth.
That's a crucial distinction. Growth isn't only born from suffering, it can be nurtured by positive action and support too. So how does this all tie back to resilience and post-traumatic stress symptoms, PTSS?
It's this really dynamic interplay. The study found, as you'd expect, the resilience acted as a strong protective factor against PTSS.
Right.
So if you're highly resilient, you might dodge the worst of the initial emotional fallout from a trauma. You experience less distress, which is obviously good.
Right.
However, that deeper growth, that PTG, sometimes seems to happen when your core beliefs are significantly shaken. It forces you to rebuild, often on a stronger foundation. So paradoxically, the research suggests that individuals who do experience higher levels of PTSS initially and then experience PTG may actually develop even greater resilience for future crises down the line.
Wow. So overcoming a major challenge, even with the initial pain, can potentially build even deeper reserves for the future.
It's a bit like maybe a controlled burn in a forest clearing the way for new, stronger growth. It suggests that navigating significant adversity, while difficult, can sometimes forge even deeper strength.
What an incredible insight. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. How can people really integrate these ideas into their lives, like right now? What are some practical tools they can start using today?
Two incredibly powerful and accessible tools jump out: journaling and the principles behind cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT.
Journaling again. It seems simple but effective.
It really is. Just the simple act of putting thoughts, feelings, emotions into words or even drawings. It costs nothing, you can do it anywhere, and the benefits are significant. Studies link it to reduced anxiety, help with that obsessive thinking or brooding.
Breaking the cycle.
Exactly. Writing about emotional events helps regulate them. Brain scans even to show it calms the amygdala. It's also been linked to faster physical healing, amazingly.
Any specific prompts?
Sure. You could try gratitude journaling, just listing 3 things you're genuinely thankful for each day. Or anxiety-reducing journaling, where you name your fears, then maybe brainstorm ways to tackle them or reframe your perspective about them.
Okay. And CBT.
Right. Cognitive behavioral therapy. This is a well-established, evidence-based approach. CBT helps you identify those unhelpful, often automatic negative thoughts, sometimes called cognitive distortions. It teaches you to challenge dysfunctional beliefs and consciously change the thought patterns and behaviors that are negatively impacting your emotions.
So it's about actively changing your thinking patterns.
Precisely. One study showed CBT significantly improved resilience in high school students, boosting their self-assurance, their sense of maturity, their self-worth. It's about learning to consciously shift your thinking to create more positive outcomes. And while full CBT is often done with a therapist, many of the core principles, like identifying and challenging negative thoughts, can be learned and applied on your own through books or guided exercises.
What an incredible deep dive this has been. It's so clear that resilience isn't this fixed thing you either have or you don't. It really is more like a dynamic superpower you build through practice.
That's exactly right. It involves embracing vulnerability, practicing that crucial self-compassion, really leaning on and nurturing your social connections, and actively engaging in those daily well-being strategies: mental, physical, emotional, behavioral. Every setback, every challenge, it's not just an obstacle, it's genuinely an opportunity to add to your, let's call it, rainy day fund for the mind.
Yeah, I like that. Each time you face something tough and consciously apply these tools, you're not just getting through it, you're actually getting stronger, building a deeper well of inner strength for whatever life throws your way next.
Absolutely.
So maybe here's a thought to leave everyone with. Consider this. What if the toughest times you've faced, or maybe the ones you're facing right now, aren't just obstacles? What if they are the very forge in which your strongest, most authentic self is actually being shaped?
A powerful thought to carry forward. Definitely something to mull over on your own journey.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep growing, and keep diving deep.